Do you want me to show you that Satan himself, in trying to usurp God, replace God, does so in a way that resembles God's triunity? Watch. And the dragon stood on the sand of the seashore. Then I saw a beast coming out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads. He has 10 horns because later on we're told these are 10 kings who will swear allegiance to him. 7 heads, why? Because John will explain that what the 7 heads are. One meaning is it's referring to the city on 7 hills, which technically was a reference for the Roman Empire. This is why people believe that this will be a king that will come out of the Roman Empire. The debate is western part or eastern part. Anyway, on his horns were 10 diadems, and on his heads were blasphemous names. And the beast which I saw was like a leopard. Now, here John is referencing Daniel 7, meaning Daniel 7 becomes a picture of something worse. Daniel 7 had its own fulfillment, but that became a picture of foreshadowing of something worse. Okay. On the beast in which I saw was like a leopard, his feet were like those of a bear, and his mouth was like the mouth of a lion. Meaning, he's combining the kingdoms and the power and authority of all those prior kingdoms, and he is the epitome of evil. So evil, he makes them look mild in comparison. With me so far? Okay, now follow me. Watch how this beast is a human ruler. He's now going to mimic the resurrection. Pay attention. And I saw one of his heads as if had been slain fatally, and his fatal wound was healed. Did you catch it? A fatal wound means a mortal wound, you die. But then it was healed, came back to life. Sound familiar? He's mimicking the resurrection. And they worship the dragon, who's different from the beast, because he gave his authority to the beast, and they worship the beast. Wait, sounds like Father and Son, Jesus Christ. Jesus is God in the flesh. The Father gave him all authority in heaven and earth, and we must worship Father and Son. Surprise, David, the dragon empowers and authorizes the beast to be his human agent, human representative, and so that all nations will understand that the dragon and the beast must be worshipped. But wait, it's going to get worse. Because he gave his authority to the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like the beast, who's able to wage war with him? Notice the blasphemy, because in the Old Testament we're told, who is like you, O God? Who is like Yahweh, our God? See, they're imitating the true God to replace the true God in the hearts of people, so that instead of looking through God, they look to the dragon and the beast. But wait, I thought the God is the Trinity. Yep. Well, if Satan's going to mimic the true God, that means he should be an unholy triad. And he is. Wait. And there was given to him a mouth, speaking great boasts and blasphemies, and authority to act for 42 months was given to him, just like the number in Daniel. Now watch. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name in his tabernacle. That is those who dwell in heaven. But watch a third figure. And it was also given to him to make war with the saints and overcome them, just like Daniel 7. An authority over every tribe and people and tongue and nation was given to him, and all who dwell on the earth will worship him. By the way, what does this tell you about Jehovah's Witnesses who refuse to worship Jesus, and yet here the beast is mimicking Jesus, imitating Jesus, and replacing Jesus? So instead of you worshiping Jesus, he has you worship him. But why would the beast want to be worshipped in place of Christ if Christ is not to be worshipped? Well, Daniel 7, 13 and 14 tells you the Son of Man is to be worshipped by every tribe, people, tongue, and nation. The very thing the beast demands of every tribe, people, tongue, and nation to do for him in order to prevent them from worshiping the one who alone deserves that worship. Okay, continue. And all who dwell on the earth will worship him. Everyone whose name has not been written from the foundation of the world in the book of the life of the Lamb who has been slain. If anyone has an ear, let him hear. In other words, you believers, get ready, because when this is unleashed on us, some of you will be taken into captivity. Others will be killed by the sword, but you must endure. If anyone's destined for captivity, to captivity he goes. If anyone kills with the sword he must be killed. Here's the perseverance and faith of the saints. Now, where is number 3? Watch the Trinity being mimicked by Satan. Here is number 3. Then I saw another beast, count, that's 3, coming out of the earth. And he had 2 horns like a lamb. And he was speaking as a dragon. In other words, notice he wants to mimic the lamb, but he's actually empowered by Satan. And notice, like the first beast exercises all the power of the dragon, who's Satan, this one exercises all the power of the first beast. What does that sound like? Jesus Christ sending the Holy Spirit from the Father in order to be the other paraclete. Remember what Jesus said? I will pray the Father, and he'll give you another paraclete, meaning another like me, another of the same kind. Because Jesus was the paraclete, advocate, counselor on earth. He's now the paraclete, counselor in heaven before the Father. But the Spirit now comes to be that other paraclete who stands in the place of Christ with us on earth. Are you seeing the pattern? Notice, the first beast, the human king, is empowered by the dragon. But then there's another beast who's empowered by the first beast. Now watch how this other beast, called the false prophet in Revelation 19:20 and 20:10, mimics the Holy Spirit. Watch. And he makes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, whose fatal wound was healed. Did you catch it? Like Jesus, who suffered a fatal wound but was raised from the dead, the first beast survived a fatal wound. Like the Holy Spirit, who convicts the world in John 16:7-15 to believe in Jesus, this beast convicts the world to believe and worship the beast. Are you seeing how this second beast is doing what the Holy Spirit does? The Holy Spirit convicts the world to worship Jesus and believe in Jesus. This other beast convicts the world to worship the first beast instead of Jesus. And like the Holy Spirit empowered the apostles to do miracles to convince them to believe in Jesus, watch what this second beast does. And he does great signs, like the Holy Spirit, who empowered the disciples to do miracles to confirm to people, worship Jesus. This one does miracles by the power of Satan, such as bring fire out of heaven in the presence of men, and by those miracles convince them to worship the first beast. And he deceives those who dwell on the earth because of the signs which are given to him to do in the presence of the beast, telling those who dwell on the earth to make an image to the beast who had the wound of the sword and has come to life. Do you see? The first beast mimics the resurrection of Christ. He's slain by a sword, yet he comes to life. Jesus nailed on the cross, breathed his last, yielded his spirit, and then the soldiers pierced him with a spear to make sure he was dead. And then 3 days later, raised his physical body back to life, making it immortal. Are you seeing how this first beast is imitating Christ in making himself out to be God as a man who died and came to life and therefore worthy to be worshipped as a God, along with the dragon who authorized him? And what does the third entity do? The second beast? Cause you to now worship the first beast. Now watch. Watch how he mimics God creating man in the image of God. What do I mean? Watch here. And it was given to him to give breath to the image of the beast. Did you catch it? The second beast had the ability to take the image of the beast and give it breath so it be alive. So that image of the beast would even speak and cause as many as do not worship the image of these to be killed. Do you see how this mimics the role of the Holy Spirit and making God's image bearer Adam alive? Like the Holy Spirit sent from God to animate that body of dust, to be the living image bearer of God, a living animate soul that could speak and walk. This beast gave breath to the image of the beast, so that image now is alive and can speak, imitating God's creation of man. But I don't know if you're catching it. I don't know if you caught it. Let's see if you're catching it. Watch. Whose image did the second beast give breath to animate it? The image of the first beast. Who's the first beast? The human ruler whom we call Antichrist, who makes himself out to be God, who imitates Christ in dying and coming to life. Well, what does that tell you? If he's imitating Christ, even in God's creating man to be God's image bearer, did you understand what this proves? Jesus is the God whose image we bear. Because notice, it's not the image of the dragon, it's the image of the beast. But he's imitating Christ and Christ's death and resurrection, which means he's imitating Christ in that, just like the beast has an image that comes to life, we are the image bearers of Christ, making Christ our creator, whose image we bear. Meaning that Yahweh God, who created mankind, was definitely Jesus Christ, meaning he is one with the Father and the Spirit, and therefore Yahweh our creator. Can't get around it. And like the second beast is imitating the role of the Spirit, that shows the Holy Spirit is also creator, because the Holy Spirit is the one who animates us. And if you want proof, here you go. Because those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son. You are the image of Christ. I am the image of Christ, which means that we are the image bearers of Christ. But Genesis says we are the image bearers of Yahweh God. Well, if we bear the image of Yahweh God, but we bear the image of Christ, what does that mean about Christ? Who is he? Yahweh God. Do you caught it now? Romans 8:29. All right, let's continue. And it was given to him to give breath to the image of the beast, so that the image of the beast would even speak and cause as many as do not worship the image of the beast to be killed. And he causes all, just like the Holy Spirit is the one sent to cause the world to realize their need of Jesus, and that it's sin not to believe in Jesus, and that Satan has been condemned, and that Jesus came to set them free, and that Jesus is not a blasphemer, but he's alive, vindicated in heaven, and returned physically and bodily. This second beast causes the world to follow the first beast. And now notice another connection. If you follow the first beast, you must worship the image of the first beast and bear the mark of the first beast on your right hand or forehead, meaning that you swear your power and your mind, your allegiance to him. Forehead, your mind. Right hand, meaning your allegiance. And you'll do everything in your effort to honor him, right? Otherwise, you will suffer because food, your livelihood, will be in the hand of the first beast, because he's going to control the world economic system. And the free, right, he's going to cause all, the small and great, rich and poor, free men and slaves, that they be given a mark on their right hand or on their forehead, and that no one will be able to buy or to sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, his number is 666. You see? 3 sixes. Why? Why not 2? Why not 1? The unholy Trinity. Because what's the number of the Holy Trinity? 7. You guys got it? Satan, the human ruler, the beast, and the second beast, the false prophet, who causes people to worship the first beast by the power of Satan, enabling him to do false signs and wonders. So what does this represent? The dragon represents the Father. The beast, God in flesh, Jesus Christ. The other beast, the false prophet, the Holy Spirit. That's why. But hold on, another connection. You must receive the mark of the beast to show allegiance to the beast, right? Contrast this with true believers. Revelation 14:1. Then I looked, and behold, the Lamb was standing on Mount Zion, with them 144,000, having his name, the name of his Father, written on their foreheads. You see why the beast marks you with his name on your forehead or in your right hand? To duplicate what God does for his servants. But wait again, you're still not. Okay, Revelation 22:3 and 4. And there will no longer be any curse. And the throne, singular, of God and the Lamb, notice, like dragon and the beast, reign. Here you have God the Father and the Lamb, Lord Jesus Christ, on the same throne, and the Holy Spirit comes from that throne in verse 1. Will be in it, in the new heaven and earth. So the Godhead will be on earth visibly. And his slaves will serve him, and they will see his face, and his name will be on their foreheads. You see how the dragon, Satan, confirms the Holy Trinity in mimicking the Godhead, in that he has his own unholy triad. Why? Satan mimics God in the number 3. He, the Antichrist, and the false prophet. 3. The Antichrist dies and is resurrected, imitating Christ. The Antichrist places his name, the mark of his name, and the number of his name on your forehead and your right hand. 666. 3 multiples of 6. Because the Godhead is the perfect number 7. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Yeah, Kyrie eleison. Now watch what Stafford's now manifesting. And again, Revelation 2:17. He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says. So the Holy Spirit speaks to the churches. To him overcomes, to him I will give some of the hidden manna, and I'll give him white stone, and a new name written on the stone, which no one knows but he who receives it. So the stone is your ticket to enter into heavenly Jerusalem, the banquet. Revelation 3:12. He overcomes, I'll make him a pillar in the sanctuary of my God, and he will never go out from it anymore. And I'll write on him the name of my God and the name of the city of my God, meaning you belong to God the Father, heavenly Jerusalem, the new Jerusalem, which comes out from heaven, from my God, and my new name. And you belong to Christ, will assume a new role in the new heaven, new earth. Now, you guys hearing it the first time, are you shocked at the fact that Satan confirms the Trinity unwittingly? Because what does Satan do? Tries to usurp Christ, replace Christ, and get you to worship him instead of Christ. Right? And then how do we explain that the first beast dies and is resurrected? Only God has power over life and death. Well, that may mean that the human beast is actually a demon taking flesh, so that when he's physically killed, the demon pretends that he's dead, but then the demon that animated the body will then cause that body to come to life, so to speak. There's some sense in which Satan will pull it off. We're not told how. But it's a facade, because Christ rose physically, bodily, never die again. The beast, on the other hand, his life is in the hands of Christ. That's why when Jesus comes, he's going to throw the beast and the false prophet alive into the lake of fire. And then 1,000 years later, Satan will join them. Here's the unholy Trinity. Revelation 19:20. When Jesus comes as King of Kings, Lord of Lords, what does he do? And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet who did the signs in his presence, and by which he deceived, by those signs that you could not explain away naturalistically, those who received the mark of the beast, and those who worshipped his image. These two were thrown alive into the lake of fire, which burns with brimstone. Then Satan is bound up in the abyss for 1,000 years. After 1,000 years, he's set free. Then notice who joins them. And here's your unholy trinity. Revelation 20:10. Count. Unholy trinity. And the devil, Revelation 20:10, who deceived them, was thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are also. 1, 2, 3. But this unholy trinity condemned to everlasting destruction. The only true holy trinity reigns supreme, almighty over all creation forever and ever. They will be destroyed forever and ever, but the true trinity rules as sovereign, almighty king forever and ever. So do you see the Bible is thoroughly Trinitarian? Revelation is Trinitarian from beginning to end, and that Satan, Stafford's father, even knows that God is a Trinity, but he's blinded Stafford, his stooge, demonized loon, not to see who the true God is. Ain't that amazing?